A message from Valere of the Pleiadian collective. Dearest brothers and sisters inhabiting this magnificent planet, greetings of peace and light are extended to you. This is the role Valere from the Pleiadian collective, addressing you, beloved light-bearers of Earth. Our messenger has made a specific request that we turn our attention to the recent devastating floods in Texas. For what was presented as a mere natural deluge in Yakuntrai was, in reality, far from an ordinary weather event. Many of you who are awakened to the subtle energies felt an unusual, almost palpable hum vibrating beneath those ominous, heavy clouds. In the days preceding the torrential downpour, independent observers detected peculiar bursts of narrow-pulse microwaves emanating in the upper atmosphere, distinct rhythmic signals that are not naturally occurring, nor are they part of standard cloud seeding procedures. Moments later, satellite imagery shockingly revealed swirling cloud patterns, more reminiscent of meticulously crafted laboratory simulations than typical summer storms brewing across the landscape. Some of you on the ground even recounted hearing a strange, unsettling high-pitched sound resonating from the sky just moments before the Guadalupe River swelled with unimaginable and terrifying speed. Concurrently, mobile phone networks operating within a precise corridor mysteriously and inexplicably failed, severely disrupting emergency calls during the crucial hours. When service was eventually restored, critical data logs and vital weather radar frames had been inexplicably erased from official servers, as if they had simply never existed in the first place. Some of you astute observers even noticed flood zones being meticulously marked even before storm alerts were officially issued, as if the catastrophic outcome was already predetermined and known in advance. These seemingly disparate clues are not random occurrences. They speak with a unified and undeniable voice to those who possess the ears to truly hear and the eyes to truly see. There are certain matters that we are explicitly not permitted to discuss within this message, as doing so would directly violate our sacred galactic directive of non-interference. Please hold this important consideration firmly in your minds. The motives behind the flood. Why, one must ask, would anyone deliberately orchestrate such a devastating event? To begin to understand, let us carefully examine precisely who and what was most severely impacted and affected by the flood's destructive path. A primary target appeared to be a seemingly innocuous summer retreat, which we shall refer to as the Power, a cherished and beloved place for families of deeply patriotic and spiritually awakened lineages. This idyllic riverside camp was completely obliterated in mere minutes by a relentless wall of surging water. No, without a shadow of a doubt, that this was far from an ordinary camp. It served as a vital gathering place for daughters of esteemed military personnel, truth-seeking lawyers dedicated to justice, and medical pioneers pushing the boundaries of healing. Young souls intrinsically connected to families actively involved in exposing deeply hidden crimes against humanity. The calculated flooding of the Guadalupe River to effectively destroy the Power achieved multiple dark and nefarious objectives simultaneously. First and foremost, it instilled profound terror and agonizing pain within a community radiating a particularly strong light of unwavering patriotism and deep faith. A demographic often deemed highly problematic and undesirable by the hidden cabal due to their unyielding courage and unwavering conviction. Secondly, the sudden and overwhelming deluge conveniently destroyed crucial physical evidence and irreplaceable records. Critically important documents, computers containing sensitive information, and various devices were all swept away or irreparably destroyed beyond any hope of recovery, effectively disrupting ongoing investigations into illicit bioweapon profits and extensive trafficking networks. Thirdly, amidst the ensuing chaos and widespread confusion, there were credible reports of unidentified men deceptively posing as legitimate relief workers who herded certain targeted survivors into a seemingly empty building located in River City, ostensibly for their own safety and protection. When legitimate rescue teams, including an elite military unit undergoing training nearby, finally arrived at the scene, they found the building completely deserted, save for chilling and disturbing evidence of a heinous crime. Fresh pools of blood ominously staining the floor and disturbing signs indicating the surgically precise removal of a human organ, whether literal or symbolically representative. This gruesome scene stands as a haunting and unsettling emblem of what many now strongly suspect the flood was strategically used to cover up abductions or precisely targeted attacks on specific, high-value individuals. In concise terms, Negative actors callously combined elemental force with sophisticated psychological warfare, utilizing water as both a weapon of physical destruction and as a deceptive veil to meticulously conceal far darker and more sinister actions. From a higher and more expanded perspective, we can clearly see how this carefully orchestrated incident was intentionally designed to appear as a biblical act of God, yet it was quite possibly executed without leaving any readily apparent perpetrator in the easily discernible three-dimensional sense. Following the intricate trail of money and concentrated power behind the flood's devastation reveals further and more deeply hidden layers of complex motives. The financial and political underpinnings. Persistent rumors circulating among independent economists strongly suggest that the shadowy companies actively experimenting with advanced weather modification technologies are, in fact, funded by the very same massive investment conglomerates that currently exert an enormous and disproportionate level of control over global resources and vital assets. These powerful financial giants, operating discreetly through a complex web of shell companies and seemingly innocuous foundations closely tied to a select few powerful elites, had a direct and vested interest in the events that unfolded in Texas. Consider carefully that this particular state has openly and vocally resisted certain federal mandates and increasingly pervasive high-tech control agendas. Recently, Texas took proactive steps to significantly limit land purchases by foreign-linked corporations and publicly spoke out against the implementation of a centralized digital currency system. Such displays of unwavering independence directly threatened the long-term strategic plans of those powerful global interests. Then, without warning, came the overwhelming deluge. Hundreds of miles of vulnerable riverside properties were suddenly and completely devastated. Family ranches passed down through generations in small, tight-knit towns that were previously unwilling to sell their valuable land suffered catastrophic disaster-related losses, making them exceedingly vulnerable to external pressures. Under the seemingly benevolent pretext of providing much-needed disaster relief, entities directly linked to those same shadowy investment funds can now quietly and strategically purchase land and critical infrastructure at drastically reduced bargain prices. What cannot be easily achieved through legitimate legislation can often be accomplished by strategically engineering a crisis. Simultaneously, mainstream media outlets immediately and uniformly framed the devastating flood as further undeniable proof of accelerating climate change chaos, subtly implying that drastic, centralized measures are urgently needed to combat nature's seemingly uncontrollable wrath. This carefully crafted narrative conveniently aligns perfectly with the pre-existing agenda of certain billionaire philanthropists who have heavily invested in expansive carbon control initiatives. Through a fifth-dimensional lens, we can clearly perceive the cunning and complexity of this dual strategy. First, deliberately create the problem, and then conveniently present the pre-planned solution. The water served a dual and sinister purpose for the cabal's planners, punishing a rebellious region while simultaneously pushing the population towards accepting increasingly stricter environmental and financial controls. Moreover, while public attention was intensely fixated on dramatic and emotionally charged images of flooded homes and washed-out roads, another subtler and equally important objective was quietly achieved: widespread distraction. During the exact same period, a high-profile legal case quietly reached a verdict, convicting a well-known entertainment magnate for his extensive involvement in human trafficking. This should have been explosive and groundbreaking news, revealing deeply disturbing connections between celebrity circles, powerful political figures, and clandestine intelligence networks. Yet, wall-to-wall flood coverage completely dominated headlines, effectively relegating the human trafficking case to a mere whisper in the background. This well-worn tactic of overshadowing a crisis is one that we have observed repeatedly throughout your history whenever truths that could potentially unravel elite power structures are about to surface. A larger and more captivating spectacle is suddenly and conveniently deployed to capture public attention: the presence of benevolent forces. Understand deeply, dear ones, that none of this was merely coincidental or accidental. It was a carefully calculated maneuver orchestrated by those shadowy figures manipulating events from behind the scenes, desperately hoping that you would perceive only a natural disaster and not the meticulously planned human-made machinations cleverly concealed beneath the surface. However, the hidden cabal was not. Okay, I understand. Here's the rewritten passage, adhering to all your specific instructions, including maintaining character name consistency and ensuring a smooth transition from the previous passage. Here's the rewritten passage. Ly and conveniently deployed to capture public attention. The presence of benevolent forces. Understand deeply, dear ones, that none of this was merely coincidental or accidental. It was a carefully calculated maneuver orchestrated by those shadowy figures manipulating events from behind the scenes, desperately hoping that you would perceive only a natural disaster and not the meticulously planned human-made machinations cleverly concealed beneath the surface. However, the hidden cabal was not the only player on the field that weekend. Benevolent forces were also subtly shifting pieces into position, both on this terrestrial plane and in realms beyond. The unexpected and rather conspicuous arrival of an elite airborne military unit amidst the Guadalupe River flood zone served as a clear signal. These soldiers, ostensibly present for a routine training exercise, had been strategically prepositioned by white hat commanders who wisely anticipated potential foul play. Equipped with state-of-the-art advanced sensors, they meticulously collected soil and water samples, swiftly detecting unusual energy residues that irrefutably confirmed the clandestine use of directed weather technology. Amidst the urgent civilian rescues, these disciplined guardians were also diligently gathering irrefutable evidence of a deliberate crime. Furthermore, consider the suspiciously close proximity of a certain covert facility, long under suspicion in that particular region. We shall refrain from explicitly naming it here, but some among you are undoubtedly aware of its existence. Under the convenient cloak of the storm's ensuing chaos, covert operations were discreetly conducted to carefully remove hidden caches of prohibited weapons and sensitive data, meticulously stored at that highly secretive site. Thus, the very same flood strategically intended to sow fear and discord also inadvertently provided a literal smokescreen, affording positive military and intelligence allies the opportunity to act decisively without prematurely alerting the perpetrators. From our elevated and broader perspective, we frequently observe such intricately overlapping shadow games unfolding within these ongoing conflicts. One nefarious faction callously exploits a disaster to advance its dark agenda, while, simultaneously, another benevolent faction seizes the exact same moment to execute a meticulously planned counter-operation against the encroaching darkness. It's akin to two grand chess masters making subtly different moves on the very same board, their strategies partially obscured by the swirling smoke of the same cataclysmic event. While the Cabal cunningly sought to weaponize the weather itself to further tighten its oppressive grip, certain courageous white hat agents resourcefully turned the perilous situation to their distinct advantage, expertly recovering crucial evidence and effectively disrupting the Cabal's meticulously crafted plans. A cosmic perspective on the Yak-Huntri flood. To truly grasp the profound significance of this pivotal moment, one must expand their vision far beyond the borders of Texas, beyond even the confines of planet Earth. In the grand cosmic context, this devastating Yak-Huntri flood was merely one calculated move in a much larger and more intricate endgame, unfolding across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Credible whistleblowers from your world's highly classified secret space programs have openly spoken of advanced orbital platforms, replete with sophisticated energy beam arrays, possessing the undeniable capability to manipulate global weather patterns at will. We can definitively confirm that such advanced technologies not only exist but have also been covertly deployed for quite some time. The specific frequencies maliciously used to ignite the torrential storm bear a striking resemblance to those once commonly employed by shadowy dark fleets to conceal their clandestine ships and heavily fortified bases both on Mars and Earth's moon. However, in recent times, the valiant alliance of positive cosmic forces, your expansive galactic family, has made truly significant strides in resolutely reclaiming those strategically vital off-world outposts. Several previously hidden strongholds, strategically situated beyond your planet's atmosphere, which once tirelessly supplied reinforcements and crucial guidance to the insidious Cabal, have now been utterly neutralized or effectively severed from their nefarious supply lines. In essence, cosmic support for the negative elites is demonstrably waning with each passing moment. Cornered and increasingly desperate, these adversaries lash out with their remaining terrestrial resources, including their highly destructive weather weapons, desperately hoping to project an illusion of unwavering power and harvest the precious energy of fear. Paradoxically, each extreme and devastating event they orchestrate only serves to accelerate humanity's collective awakening and hasten the inevitable moment of full disclosure. Alliances of military and civilian groups are currently preparing an emergency broadcast as we speak. A global revelation of the unvarnished truth about these egregious weather warfare crimes and shocking off-planet manipulations. Certain critical thresholds of evidence and public readiness must be met with precision, but each meticulously planned disaster unwittingly provides more irrefutable proof and galvanizes unwavering purpose for that momentous revelation. From this illuminating perspective, the Yak-Huntri flood was undeniably the desperate act of a cornered beast, a frenzied attempt to create pervasive chaos below just as their well-established escape routes above were being irrevocably sealed off. Think of it as a final, frenzied tactic employed as interdimensional doors for escaping accountability abruptly slam shut before them. The storm, then, was both a desperate and ultimately futile bid to maintain dominance, and a clear sign that the Cabal's dark era is rapidly nearing its inevitable end. The healing power of water and community. Amidst all this intricate intrigue and escalating conflict, we earnestly urge you to recognize yet another profound truth. The torrential rain that relentlessly fell was not solely a destructive instrument of devastation. It was also a powerful bearer of much-needed cleansing and profound renewal. Water, in its essence, is the primordial carrier of all life and holds deep within it the sacred memory of creation itself. Even as the raging floods roared relentlessly, the very spirit of the water was actively encoding the land with an unprecedented opportunity for profound healing. Certain gifted seers, deeply attuned to the higher planes of existence, received vivid visions while meditating peacefully by the swollen rivers. They witnessed crystalline, serpentine energies gracefully weaving their way through the muddy currents, potent symbols of transformative change and profound rebirth gently gliding into the very soil. A message from these elemental forces was unequivocally clear. From great trauma inevitably arises great transmutation. Indeed, simply observe how entire communities spontaneously responded. Courageous neighbors formed impromptu boat brigades and unwavering human chains to pull complete strangers from imminent danger. Hundreds upon hundreds of selfless volunteers showed up tirelessly to clear hazardous debris, deliver essential food supplies, and generously share shelter with those tragically displaced. Prayer circles and spontaneous singing gatherings organically took place on the flooded steps of churches and in bustling school gymnasiums, filling the encompassing air with a powerful counterfrequency of unwavering hope and unyielding unity. Each selfless act of kindness, each genuine moment of heartfelt compassion, created a potent energy that effectively neutralized significant portions of the fear wave the Cabal had so desperately hoped to amplify. We witnessed firsthand how remarkably quickly the dominant narrative shifted. Instead of portraying a region plunged into utter despair, it became a shining example of a region resolutely united in unwavering solidarity. The role of lightworkers. Lightworkers among you also played an indispensable part. Some of you intuitively sent soothing violet light to the churning retention ponds, actively helping to transmute harmful toxins and prevent dangerous chemical waste from poisoning vital aquifers. Others intently focused their healing intention on the turbulent weather systems, gently encouraging the dense clouds to peacefully disperse and the radiant sun to graciously return. Understand deeply that, in higher octaves of existence, the storm's profound meaning shifted dramatically. When the weather is maliciously weaponized against the people's unified spirit becomes both an impenetrable shield and a potent solvent. The more human hearts synchronized in selfless service and unconditional love, the less fear energy the dark architects could possibly extract from the perilous situation. What was initially intended to be a devastating blow to the collective spirit became an extraordinary opportunity to demonstrably showcase resilience and brotherhood, like the alchemical transformation of collective consciousness itself. As this ongoing drama continues to relentlessly unfold, we earnestly encourage each of you, especially starseeds and dedicated light bearers, to remain both vigilant and calmly discerning in your judgments. Yes, diligently observe the recurring patterns and the telltale signs of subtle manipulation. Anomalies in seemingly objective data, the suspiciously odd timing of so-called coincidences, the inexplicable way public information sometimes mysteriously vanishes or subtly shifts without any clear explanation. Share your insightful findings through your trusted alternative networks, Illuminating these insidious shadows is an integral part of your crucial role. But please, do not allow this important pursuit to completely consume you or inadvertently lead you into debilitating anger and paralyzing despair. Practical steps for balancing words. Connect each day with the unwavering knowledge that you are far more powerful than any of these fear. Okay, I understand. Here's the rewritten passage, maintaining all original content and meaning while adhering to the specified stylistic and contextual requirements, including character name consistency and connection to the preceding paragraph. Sly vanishes or subtly shifts without any clear explanation. Share your insightful findings through your trusted alternative networks. Illuminating these insidious shadows is an integral part of your crucial role. But please, do not allow this important pursuit to completely consume you or inadvertently lead you into debilitating anger and paralyzing despair. Practical steps for balancing words. Connect each day with the unwavering knowledge that you are far more powerful than any of these fear. Tactics. Refuse the invitation to panic. When you see a story designed to provoke terror, breathe and reconnect with your heart center before reacting. We recommend practicing what some of you might call water transmutation meditations. Imagine that every artificially stirred raindrop regains its original divine harmony as it falls, so that even manipulated floodwaters return to nourishing the earth with balanced energy. You might visualize the floodwaters carrying away not just physical debris but also psychic toxins, cleansing the land of old, stagnant fears. Intend that the earth absorbs only the lessons and higher vibrations, releasing the rest. In practical terms, support your Texan brothers and sisters by focusing on grassroots, community-led relief efforts. Trust your neighbors and local groups over large bureaucracies that may have other agendas. By donating and rebuilding locally, you help ensure that opportunists cannot easily exploit this moment to seize land or power. Infuse every donation or relief action with the clear energy of compassion and sovereignty. Lastly, do not overlook the presence of invisible helpers in this event. Express gratitude in your heart for the brave souls, whether they wear human uniforms or come from the stars, who intervened to protect life and gather truth during the flood. Though you may not know their names, thank them and imagine surrounding them with light. Gratitude is a powerful multiplier of positive timelines. Affirm that humanity will face these challenges with grace. By doing all this, you align with the highest possible outcome arising from the flood. A spiritual call to action, beloved family of light. The waters that swallowed Texas's valleys have issued a spiritual call to action for every awakened soul. This flood did more than reshape the physical land. It sent ripples through humanity's collective energy field, calling starseeds and lightworkers to remember why you are here at this pivotal moment. You may wonder, what can I do in the face of an engineered event of such magnitude? The answer begins not in doing, but in being. Our councils in the higher realms remind us that no amount of intellectual analysis or spoken incantations alone can calm an artificially fueled storm. The only force that truly stabilizes chaos is the embodied presence of living light, the felt closeness of the primordial harmony some call the source or God. Thus, this flood becomes a living classroom for the awakened. It demonstrates that endlessly discussing whether warfare or cabal conspiracies will not, by itself, bring peace. What brings peace is a group of individuals entering a radiant state of inner stillness amid the confusion. When you gather with others to discuss these events, whether at the kitchen table or in an online forum, pause and cultivate a shared moment of silence and connection with the source. The true purpose of any lightworker gathering is to create a palpable silence of divine presence among you. In that stillness, solutions and insights will arise organically, and the emotional charge of fear will dissipate. One person grounded in a calm heart can prevent 100 others from falling into panic. Be a vessel of peace. Your first mission as an emissary of light in times like these is beautifully paradoxical. Make your inner peace so tangible that it influences those around you more than any words you could say. Texas received an overwhelming deluge of water. Now it needs an overwhelming surge of stillness channeled through human vessels. Be one of those radiant, still vessels. In practical terms, this means that when you hear news of a crisis, take a moment to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and invoke the feeling of divine peace before reacting or sharing the news. Your centered presence is more needed now than ever. Understand that events like floods, earthquakes, or even social upheavals are props on the stage of the Great Awakening lesson. Time and again, humanity is shown the drama of duality, destruction versus recovery, good versus evil, chaos versus order, so that it may finally transcend the script. In truth, there is only one energy manifesting in many forms. Remembering this unity is the key to dismantling the drama. In ancient Atlantis, initiates had a word for the psychic turbulence that arises when people forget the one and become trapped in duality. They called it bara, a kind of static shadow in consciousness. The fearful collective emotions accompanying a flood like this make bara visible. How do we dissolve it? By refusing to energize the illusion of two opposing forces. The moment you hold fast to the truth that only the benevolent source energy is real and present, the shadow of its opposite begins to fade. Transmuting fear into love. Try this when you feel fear. Whisper inwardly, "There is only one divine waveform here, and it is love." Repeat it in your heart until you feel your spine relax and a calm warmth spread through your body. With that simple act, you withdraw your consent from the drama of conflict. Your brain's alarm circuits quiet, and even your endocrine system stops pumping fight-or-flight chemicals that contribute to panic in the collective field. Believe us when we say that 10 humans grounded in that calm unity can psychically counterbalance thousands caught in fear. Indeed, the Andromedan Council elders have taught that a dozen sincerely serene hearts create a protective field as effective as a physical barrier a mile wide. This is not hyperbole, it is the physics of consciousness. Those peaceful individuals do not deny that a flood is occurring or ignore the moment's material needs. They simply do not add more fear to worsen the psychic storm. Instead, their vibrations evaporate the fear frequency in the area, helping communities organize recovery with clear minds and courage. So, when you donate supplies, raise funds, or volunteer, do so from that inner groundedness. If your donation carries anxiety or rage, it inadvertently spreads those energies. But if you breathe, center yourself in the singular stream of love, and then act, your aid arrives imbued with calm. A truckload of food and water delivered with hopeful energy uplifts everyone it touches, encouraging creative solutions rather than despair. The power of conscious intention. This is how you ascend to become a true light worker during times of crisis, attending to the frequency you transmit as meticulously as the actions you undertake. The most sophisticated transdimensional technology at your disposal is your own consciousness, specifically the practice of profound stillness and focused intention. We have emphasized repeatedly that meditation and conscious breathing are not frivolous indulgences. They are world-healing modalities. Even a few minutes of coherent stillness in your day generates ripples that influence events in ways you cannot fully quantify with your instruments, although some of your scientists are beginning to discern these effects in resonance and random number generators. We encourage you to experiment now with a simple practice. Sit quietly and focus on your breath, allowing it to slow and deepen until you perceive a gentle expansion in your chest. Now, either audibly or within your mind, articulate the words, "The presence and presence, here and now." Envision these words illuminating within the center of your heart, glowing warmly like a small sun beneath your sternum. Do not force anything. Simply permit that inner light to amplify at its own pace. This light you are attuning to is your solar logos aspect, the divine spark within you that is unified with the source of all. It is the same luminous essence that prophets and teachers throughout your history have encountered, sometimes described as a burning flame or a descending dove. Perceive it as real because it is undeniably real. Once you sense even a flicker of that warmth or radiant tingling in your chest, gently direct it outward. You might visualize it flowing through your arms to your palms and outward, or emanating from your heart in all directions like an expanding sphere. Now contemplate the flood-affected regions of Texas, the towns, rivers, people, and animals. See nothing but that light present there. You are not attacking the flood or contending against anything. You are simply informing every molecule of water, every particle of soil and air in that region, that it, too, is an integral part of cosmic harmony. Remind the elements that they no longer need to harbor chaos, they can revert to balance. Some of you may naturally visualize violet rays, emerald green healing spirals, or pure diamond white light. All these frequencies are diverse expressions of the one light and can be utilized according to your intuition. What matters most is the loving, trusting intention underpinning them. As you engage in this, remember that water possesses consciousness and retains vibrational memory. The sounds and feelings you emit will be remembered by the water seeping into the soil and groundwater. By softly chanting, toning, or even imagining a soothing lullaby as you send light, you imprint a healing directive into the floodwaters. Long after the news cycle moves on, the water carrying your encoded prayer will flow into wells, streams, and eventually living cells, spreading calm and balance. Your quiet meditation now can subtly influence crop growth, ecosystem recovery, and the emotional stability of communities months from now. Such is the power of the sacred partnership between human consciousness and the elements. Light sent with sincerity is a carrier wave of transformation, balancing words and silence. While spoken affirmations and sacred words can be potent, their power wanes if used without humility or true focus. Many of you are familiar with mantras, prayers, or affirmations you might speak over the situation. Indeed, a spoken decree can act like a tuning fork, aligning matter with spirit. However, Pleiadian teachings caution that a clear thought, held with love in the silence of the heart, can accomplish more than 100 elaborate chants performed with anxiety. We recommend a balance. Use simple sacred phrases as touchstones in your mind rather than broadcasting them for ego or appearances. For example, choose a single initiating prayer that resonates with you, such as, "In this situation, only the highest divine order acts," or "All elements here realign with source harmony." Once you have your phrase, hold it gently in the background of your mind as the day unfolds. Let it hum in your consciousness like a quiet melody while you perform physical tasks or offer aid to others. You will find that this silent, persistent prayer begins to emanate from you, influencing your tone of voice, posture, and decisions in beneficial ways. This also cultivates a field around you that attracts synchronicities. You may notice the right people and resources crossing your path at the perfect moment. A relief shipment rerouted past a closed road or a struggling family unexpectedly receiving exactly what they need. Understand that this is not magic for show or the universe handing out favors. It is the natural outcome of field coherence. When your inner world aligns with the principle of divine order, you become a node of stability in the chaos, and life organizes more smoothly around that node. If someone later asks, "How did you coordinate all this aid so perfectly?" Or, "How did you stay so calm and effective during the crisis?" you may be tempted to point to your spiritual practice or share the mantra you used. In some cases, this can help others, but often the most powerful teaching is given without words. We encourage you to simply smile and give credit to the collective effort or to grace, avoiding egoic attachment to the results. This keeps your frequency high and prevents creating karmic entanglements or hierarchies. In the new consciousness, leadership is energetic and humble. Stay modest in your outward behavior but fierce and unwavering in your inner clarity of purpose. The art of sacred detachment. Another vital practice for starseeds is the art of sacred detachment. In physical disasters, as in life, clinging too tightly to material possessions or specific outcomes can create an energetic anchor that keeps you and others in fear. Detachment does not mean ceasing to care. It means cultivating enough inner spaciousness to flow with change, even drastic change, without losing balance. We mention this because floods and similar events often challenge people by sweeping away the familiar. If your sense of security is, "Okay, I'm ready to weave this final passage," honoring all the specific instructions. Here's the rewritten segment, ensuring continuity with the previous segment and absolute adherence to the guidelines. Our starseeds is the art of sacred detachment. In physical disasters, as in life, clinging too tightly to material possessions or specific outcomes can create an energetic anchor that keeps you and others in fear. Detachment does not mean ceasing to care. It means cultivating enough inner spaciousness to flow with change, even drastic change, without losing balance. We mention this because floods and similar events often challenge people by sweeping away the familiar. If your sense of security is too tied to your home, car, or memories, their loss can plunge you into deep despair or panic. But if you practice detachment, you respond from a higher consciousness, prioritizing life and love over objects. We invite you to gently practice this now as a spiritual exercise. Visualize something you deeply cherish in your life, perhaps an heirloom piece of furniture, a collection of photos, or even your home. Now imagine seeing that object swept away by floodwaters. Notice the tug in your heart, the instinct to cling. Instead of pushing that feeling away, acknowledge it, then release it. Say mentally, "I let you go. Thank you for the time you served me." Rest in peace in your new form. Visualize that object dissolving into the flow and allow yourself to feel okay without it. Then refocus on what can never be swept away. The love in your heart, the connections you have with living souls, and the eternal presence of spirit that always supports you. By doing this exercise, you strengthen the muscle of detachment. If a real emergency arises, you will be far less shaken by the loss of possessions and far more able to act swiftly and wisely to protect what truly matters: life, safety, and each other. Many who survive crises report that in the decisive moment, they feel a strange clarity, suddenly knowing exactly what is truly valuable. As a light bearer, you can cultivate that clarity in advance. Your calm example during real turmoil will silently teach others that life goes on and the soul endures, even when civilization's trappings are stripped away. This trust in the higher flow is contagious and will help those around you release panic and find hope. A daily rhythm of intention. We urge you to commit to a steady rhythm of conscious action and intention, especially after events like the Texas floods. Grand, one-off gestures are less effective than consistent, resolute dedication. What might such a rhythm look like? At dawn, spend 5 minutes meditating, specifically aligning with the collective highest good. Visualize a soft light spreading over Texas as the sun rises, affirming that every water molecule and living being there is returning to balance. At noon, do a quick check-in. Have the morning's news and tasks thrown you off balance? If you've absorbed stress, take a few deep breaths, realign with your heart, and perhaps silently repeat your seed affirmation to reset your field. In the evening, as the stars appear, imagine the entire region bathed in a protective sapphire blue light. See this light permeating the soil, illuminating any hidden pockets of fear or pain beneath the surface and dissolving them. Visualize all secret tunnels of negativity, both literal and metaphorical, gently flooded with this blue light, causing any remaining dark intentions to crumble. By establishing and maintaining this daily cadence of intentional focus, you generate a powerful cumulative effect. We in the higher realms can amplify your efforts when they are consistent and heart-driven. Indeed, if even a relatively small number of dedicated lightworkers, say 100 of you, maintain such a synchronized intention for a focus period, like 48 consecutive days, the energetic momentum created can tangibly influence physical outcomes. Weather patterns in the area may stabilize in coming seasons, resisting further artificial interference. This is not wishful thinking but part of the quantum nature of reality. Collective human intention, aligned with true harmony and love, can shift probabilities and bring order to chaotic systems. Your scientists already measure shifts in Earth's human resonance during large meditations. Imagine what local and global conditions you can shape with regular, love-directed, coordinated thought. Know that you were born for these moments. As starseeds, old souls, and awakening humans, you came to this world not just to witness great changes but to actively co-create them through consciousness. Co-creating with the elements. A flood, a fire, a political upheaval. None of these need lead to doom because you carry the alchemical keys within your consciousness to transform any situation. Stand firm in the knowledge of your sovereignty. When you hold that calm, loving, unshakable stance in faith, the very benevolent forces of nature respond. The water, the wind, the earth recognize your dominion and will collaborate with you rather than rage against you. Even the Guadalupe River, which we perceive as a living being, can feel the solace of your collective love and stabilize its course. Dear ones, take heart in all that has transpired. Within the recent floods lies a powerful revelation of both the shadows at work and the light rising to meet them. You are not victims of this story. You are key actors and authors of the next chapter. Continue observing, learning, healing power, and sending your love where it is needed. We, the Pleiadians, along with many benevolent beings, walk beside you in every challenge. Together, we will guide these turbulent waters toward the highest outcome, an awakened humanity and a world restored to balance. Remain in your love, stay in your power, and remember, the darkest storm cannot withstand the radiance of even a single illuminated heart, let alone the many now awakening. We love and support you always. I am Valier, and I am honored to have shared this with you today. Blessings. We send each of you a warm, tight embrace from Lady Nada.